Hello, y'all, and welcome back to the Cup TV, where we give the real and tea in reality. You can always come to us first to quench your reality TV thirst. I wish today I could come to you under better circumstances, but I am in mourning. Today's boot is someone that I thought would win this show. She had everything laid out for her perfectly, and the only reason she went home is because she was too good at the game. Uh, oh, it's so sad. But before we get into that lovely interview, I do have just a couple things to tell you about. First, if you love these exit interviews or are interested in any other reality TV content, maybe Survivor Australia versus the World, maybe Big Brother, maybe some interviews from The Snake, or more interviews from Destination X, you can always subscribe to us here at The Cup. The button did just glow rainbow. I know it's like a day or two out from Pride Month at this point, but like it never stops, so come on. Good, thank you. In addition, feel free to ring that bell for all of our notifications and give us a like because that means the world to us. Now, if you are interested in drag content with some amazing interviews and guests like Jalen Time, Laomi, like we have a lot coming down the pipeline for y'all. Feel free to jump on that in our drag channel. We also have our WWE and our Eurovision channel. So please feel free to follow those links in the link tree below, along with the links to our audio podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you might use. We're probably there under the Cup TV where you can find a full feed of all of our stuff. So if you want to listen to us on the go, feel free. And that's also where you can get your Cup merch, including our lovely cup mug, the only mug you will ever need. Yours will have two logos here instead of just one at the front because two is better than one. And if you enjoy my lovely interviews or anything we do here, you can follow us at our socials below. It is the Cup Pod across basically all socials. And for me, it is Jack the Flop. Just if you're looking at Twitter, add TTV to the end. But let's get into the interview that I thought we'd be doing at the end of this series. We do have the lovely Mack Fitzgerald. And here we are with Mack. Mack, I am personally really annoyed to see you here right now. It felt like this should be an interview I have right at the end where I'm interviewing the winner. So
It's tough. It's tough. I feel the same way. Don't you worry.
well, let's start with the easy stuff. How do you feel after watching everything back and seeing the episodes play out?
Um, I feel pretty good. I was really nervous, especially on this last episode, like because I knew I cried, right? And so I was like, oh God, like the whole country is gonna see me because I cried for about an hour and a half, to be clear. Like, cut that into 2 minutes. And I was like, geez, I don't know what that's gonna look like, but I feel like I was okay with it. I feel like the episode made sense and like captured how I felt at different times. It captured the high where I was like, oh, I have all the information. I got this. This is easy, down to the crash. So definitely tough to watch, tough to relive, but I think it was well done. So that at least made it a little bit better, I
Believe
guess.
me, crying on a public platform, I've been there. Definitely a moment of like, great, that's just immortalized in TV forever. But
Yep.
hey, it shows you're vulnerable and like,
Yeah, I guess there's that.
well, we're winding all the way back to the beginning. What made you decide to do this show in particular?
you know, I'd never applied for any reality television shows or really watched any or really had any interest in doing anything. But one night was scrolling TikTok and saw a casting call and they pitched it as like, do you like trivia? Do you like traveling? Like blah 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 reality. And I was like, oh, I love all of those things that they just said. Like I'll probably win because I'm really good at all of those things too. I'd also just been back and forth backpacking Europe. So like all of Europe was super fresh on my mind. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. And so it was just kind of like a late night. I actually thought the casting call was a scam, but a couple months later, once I found out that it wasn't, I was like, oh, sweet. Like, what a random piece of lore now that I have is like a middle of the night TikTok turned into a reality TV contestant. Like, that's just funny. So there was, there wasn't a lot of thought put into it, but it was like I heard it and I was like, oh, that sounds like me. So I might as well go for it.
I was gonna say probably of like everyone on this cast, maybe besides Rick, who can pick out any bird in the sky of like, no, we're here now. And Peter, who's flown like all over the world and can track the sun. You probably have the most knowledge out of anyone on this show. So like, how much did you study for this, or how much was just like, yeah, no, I kind of am already here.
So like in terms of the map and stuff like that, I knew that. And I mostly, like almost exclusively traveled Europe by bus. So I was super familiar with busing distances between major cities, which is a huge benefit. The one thing that kind of got me off though is this bus would kind of do, it was never just going A to B. It was kind of doing some of this in the meantime, which the Flixbus does not do. So that did throw me off a little bit, but you're able to still kind of piece it together. So none of that I really had to study. I had like a week and a half heads up before I knew I was flying out. So I didn't have a ton of time to study. But so what I did was I picked like two or three major cities in each country and tried to just get to know some fun facts because I figured it would be stuff like that they would use as clues. So like, Mozart or Sound of Music, just for example, stuff like that.
Yeah, just the small things that absolutely appeared in every single episode that you just knew
Right.
off the top of your head.
It's funny how many things kind of did come from like flashback. Like I feel like a lot of the stuff I knew was the stuff I happened to pick out. The only thing that I think I really knew just from living it was I knew that Van Gogh picture and I knew the Van Gogh Museum was in Amsterdam because a few years ago I went to Amsterdam and all my friends were like, we're going to the Van Gogh Museum. And I was like, that sounds so boring. I'm going to go take a nap. And so that's how I knew Van Gogh Museum was in Amsterdam. But everything else I think was mostly on the flashcards.
That's honestly insanely impressive. And I mean, you just see it throughout the entire season of just like, yeah, so Mac has immediately pieced together where they are by like three things. We can just go relax for a bit and see who else goes home.
Uh-huh. That's kind of how it felt a little bit. Like it felt like, okay, got it. Like after I feel like I kind of started to get my footing like episode three, and then after that it was kind of like, oh, I got like because episodes one and two I was really overthinking everything. And then it was like, oh, this is kind of easy. Like this is kind of obvious. They're not trying to trick us. Like it's like here's the answer, like just look at it and then you'll figure it out. And then after that, once I kind of figured out the game, I was like, oh, I'm going to the end. Like this will be easy. Whoops.
Well, going to the end, barring like one or two weird circumstances where
Yeah,
someone can
yeah.
take you out of the game.
Right, right.
But with that said, you had an extremely strong start to the game. Literally, the first challenge out the gate, you look at Allie and say, let's just split it because there's two of us who are going to win anyway. Like,
Mhm.
in confessional, you did say you were inherently picking the dumbest person here. As the game went on and you worked with Allie a little bit more, did that kind of stick and you both pulled weight, or did it end up being a, yeah, I'll just cut them when I need kind of idea?
Couple different things. One, that was not about that challenge at all. That was my strategy for the game in general. So Allie was not, I wasn't like, here's my dummy. I mean, it wouldn't even make sense to pick a dumb person for that challenge. I needed a smart person for that challenge because I needed them to pull weight and tags if we were to combine. So I think that was just, kind of funny editing. But then Allie and I never really worked together because we had a whole tiff kind of episode one, and so neither of us really liked each other or trusted each other. So that challenge was kind of the beginning and end of us working together. We kind of made up more towards the end once Peter and Janae got on the bus because we were like, we got to get them off. So like we'll work together to get them off. But yeah, she was not the dummy I was rooting for, trying to get close to me. I never really found a dummy, to be fair. I thought everybody unfortunately had strengths. So then I just tried to play by myself.
Yeah, and I mean, you were nailing things by yourself. So I mean that was something where you could just watch people slowly filter off the bus where you were going to be fine almost no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially with Peter and Janae coming into the game late and they're kind of forming into two sides, it seems like you fell more into the middle of it. Was that kind of intentional, or did that just kind of happen?
So I was working with like the Biggie Shane Alley alliance quite a bit. I never felt fully part of it, but like we at least had a common goal of working together to get Peter and Janae off. It was obvious that like Peter and Shane were not going to get along. So like, so then Janae was also not going to like Shane, and then Shane and Allie are looped together. So like she's also kind of out. So it was kind of a sense of like, oh, I'm going to be really nice to them, and like maybe I'll be able to get some information from them, or maybe I'll be able to mislead them a bit. I did like them a lot as people, but like I was kind of playing the middle, but definitely had more of an allegiance to the like Biggie Shane Alley side, but was playing nice, and whichever would benefit me the most, I was kind of going to go with. But for the most part, I was kind of trying to leak or not leak, misinform Peter and Janae to help get them off.
Gotcha. Okay, so this round in particular, castle mission just inherently doesn't go right. You don't see the banners at the top. Shane ends up getting the final key in the well, and you're thrown into the dungeon immediately.
Mm-hmm.
However, through like everyone talking about the riddles, which should not have done, you're like, okay, Edelweiss, Mozart, Salt, great. I know exactly where we are right off the bat. We're all good. Did
Mm-hmm.
you think you were the only person to nail it using those three, or did you suspect that other people might have gotten it?
I suspected Rick knew. I think I'd heard him talk about it at some point. Um, but other than that, I didn't think anybody else knew. I knew Peter thought Switzerland, which told me that Janae was probably also thinking Switzerland. And then I knew Shane thought Vienna, which told me Allie also probably. I think actually I also talked to Allie. I think both of them were talking Vienna. And then I obviously told Biggie Switzerland, so he knew in that sense, but I don't think he knew that on his own. I think he was between Vienna and Salzburg and was like, I don't know which one. And then I confirmed to my detriment.
But I mean, this whole round was honestly about that kind of like information transfer of you tell Biggie, who ends up telling Shane, and Rick tells Janae and Peter. So everyone ends up knowing by the end of the round. So, like, do you have regrets about how that whole information transfer went, or just like, I couldn't have known?
um, I think I should have known. I do regret telling Biggie mostly because there was no need to tell him. He wasn't, if he'd been going into the map room, then I would maybe feel differently because it was like we had been bouncing, clues and stuff off of each other for a while now. It didn't just start this episode. And so at the end of the day, I would have, talked to him about Salzburg, but I knew so confidently, so I didn't need to bounce that off of him. And he wasn't in the map room ultimately. So there was no need for me to tell him. That conversation happened before we knew who was going to be in the map room, but nevertheless, like I should have held that to myself until the end. And, then if he or I or both had been in the map room, then I would have told him. But at the time I told him there was no need for me to do it. Um, and so I do regret it in that sense because I think it was preventable and there was no need for me to tell him.
I cannot imagine the map room of just like him. Yeah, we have to go to a tiebreaker. Everyone got it right. Just like
Yeah.
the casual vibe of, oh, oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Because I went in there so cocky because I was like, I I've known the last couple of places, but this one I was like, no question. Because you always kind of second guess yourself a little bit. There's a little, but this one I was like, easy. Like I could tell you five different reasons why we're in Salzburg. And so, I was like, yes, I'm going on to the next round. Like this is amazing. And then they say tiebreaker, and it's just like, oh, you're kidding. Because now it's like, I don't know what a tiebreaker is, but I feel like it's gonna be a crapshoot.
Did you like basically as you heard like yeah, we have to go to tiebreaker? Were you parsing together in your mind how that situation could have occurred, or was that something when once you left the map room, maybe just fully the bus, you had finally like figured out exactly what had gone wrong?
While I was in the map room, I didn't think about it at all because I was trying to figure out when that stupid castle had been built, and wasn't really thinking of anything else. I knew for sure Rick had told Peter, who had told Janae. For some reason, it didn't really click to me that Biggie had told Shane until Jeffrey told me on the steps. I feel like I should have known that because I knew, I talked to Shane and I knew he was going Vienna. And so like the switch up isn't random. But it didn't dawn on me that it was Biggie that had done that.
So, the very, very start of this game, you said that you got on the bus and everything, partially for ego reasons to prove that you were the smartest one in the room. And at the end of the game, you go out not because you got anything primarily wrong, but because you were too good at the game and Peter needed you gone in order to do anything.
Mhm.
So,
Best case
do
scenario.
do you feel that ego was filled? Like,
I do feel like I was able to leave with my ego intact. So the worst way to leave would have been somebody lied to me. I believe it. I put that. Then the next, would be me just getting it wrong. That I can accept a little bit. This was the best possible way for me to leave the bus because, it was like, you're the threat. You got to go home. Now, it was partially my poor social game that got me into that situation, so that kind of sucks. But in terms of the ego trip that I wanted, which was like intelligence, that part I got. So I still, that part's still intact, so I'm still happy about that.
honestly, exactly I'd want to go out where it's like, yeah, no,
True.
I screwed up in a way that I understand, and then I was taken out for being a problem. So
Yeah. Yeah. Wish it had been a little bit later, a few more rounds, but I'll take it. Like I took it as a compliment. All my friends are like, "Oh, do you hate Peter now?" And I'm like, "No, like that's such a compliment. Are you kidding me? Like that was the nicest thing he could have done. He, absolutely fueled the ego with my excess. Perfect."
and I mean, if anyone is going to ever get an opportunity to come back, it's going to be you because you were robbed versus like someone who like, yeah, no, they just put the wrong location. No, you did
Yeah.
everything right.
Yeah,
So
no, it was perfect. It was a perfect setup. So hopefully the producers see it that way as well and bring me back for another shot.
so rounding out this whole experience, what did you end up learning about yourself from this game?
Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like a completely different person now than when I filmed it. And I talk about this while I'm crying at the end, and I really learned that I like want to have people close to me, and like I want to like let people love me so that I can love them back, which is like a really dramatic takeaway from a silly little reality TV game. But and a lot of this had to do with like the crew more so than the cast. Cast was great, but like in my life, like I don't let people take care of me. I don't let people get close to me. I don't let people do things for me because like I think with that vulnerability comes a lot of pain if somebody messes up or doesn't come through. But in a situation like this, like you are kind of helpless. You can't do anything for yourself. You are fully dependent on other people to get you food, to tell you what clothes to wear, to tell you when to go to sleep, to tell you when you can go to the bathroom, stuff like that. And like I don't know. I just felt so taken care of and so loved by production and like by the crew that like even though that was literally their job to do that, like it was literally somebody's job every single day to come say, "Hey, Mac, like, are you okay? Like, are you feeling okay?" I just hadn't really experienced that in my regular life ever, in large part because I push people away and don't let them, ask me those kinds of things. But like I had no choice. And so so then I think once that was over, like once I, the game is over, now I lose all of that. Then it just kind of hit me like how nice and comforting that felt. And it's like, oh shit, like I do want people to love me and I do want to take people to take care of me. And like I want to do that back to people. Like that feels so good and fulfilling. And then it's like I just cracked. And like as I said earlier, like I cried for an hour and a half. Like I feel like I finally like everything emotional ever in my life, I just pushed it down. And for some reason in that moment, I was like, I'm gonna feel it all right now. And I feel like I developed emotions. I feel like I developed a heart. Um and like just my friends love me and I love them back now. I don't know. But I feel like I grew a heart, which is kind of cool and a weird thing. I never would have expected that to be my takeaway from this show.
I mean, honestly, that is the best way to leave of like, yeah, no, I grew as a person. So
Yeah. No, no,
cannot
it's
complain.
yeah, no, it was super cool. Like I'm so grateful I did this show for so many reasons, but like I'm just so much happier as a person now that I have emotions. I mean, it's tough. Let me tell you, it's not great crying every couple of days. Um, but with the lows also come the highs, I guess. And so that's really nice. And I feel like life is so much sweeter now. I'm super happy with how it all shook out.
Well, with that much growth from one show, would you ever do another? And if so, which?
I really want to do this one again. I feel like I went out too soon, and so I want a chance to prove that I can get to the end. Other than that, I think Traders would be sick. I think
Yes.
Amazing Race would be sick because there's not really as much of a social element on Amazing Race, and you get to travel. I think The Mole would be really cool.
You've
I feel like
literally listed my top four, just like at the bat. Like, damn.
those are those. Yeah, I think those would be really what I would love to do. You know the show Alone?
Oh my God.
I would love, I don't have all the survival skills. Actually, my answer on this might change, which is funny because I used to always be like, oh, I would crush at that show because you can learn survival skills, but you can't learn having a cold, dead heart. And because a lot of people would leave because they missed people and they were sad. And I was like, that would never happen to me. But now as I'm speaking, I'm like, oh, shoot, like actually now, unfortunately, I have emotions now. So maybe I wouldn't do as well on that show. I'd still like to give it a shot. But I think that would be a really cool show, very different, but I don't have all the survival skills. I don't know how to hunt or build things. So maybe not. But yeah, like Amazing Race, Traders, The Mole those would be my top. Actually, I mean Destination X would be my number one, and then those other three.
Well, Mac, thank you so much for sitting down with me. This is like easily best interview I've had so far.
Yay!
So, on the way out, do you have any socials or any places people can find you to follow you on your journey?
Yeah, I've got my Instagram is Mack Fitzgerald, and then my TikTok and YouTube are Fack Fitzgerald because Mack Fitzgerald was taken on both of those. And yeah, I post some things every now and then. I'm gonna be having a lot more stuff on YouTube coming out. But yeah, any of them, check them out.
Awesome. Well, once again, thank you so much, Mac, for sitting down with me. I
Of
hope to see
course.
you on another season of this show because God, we need it. But until then, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll see you somewhere else.
Yay, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Uh, and that is the end of Mac's story here. If we can get her on a season two of this show, because God, it has done well, I will fight for it personally. I will put my body on the line for it because God, does she deserve another chance at this game, especially with everything there. Also, Traders, Mole, Amazing Race, Alone, if she figures it out. Any of that would be awesome. But that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for a very extended interview, which thank you behind the scenes. That really does mean the world. But on your way out, feel free to subscribe, ring the bell, give us all that love, because we are going to send you even more amazing interviews as this series goes on and across the reality TV spectrum. Drag, WWE, Eurovision, audio podcasts, all of that can be found in our link tree below, along with our lovely cup mugs. And if you like what I have been doing, or any of our other panelists, you can always follow us at the Cup Pod on social media, or you can follow me at Jack the Flop on almost every single platform. If you're looking for Twitter, just add TTV. But thank you so much for everything today and giving us your attention. Feel free to jump to another video, maybe our lovely interview with Pastor Jacob from the Snake. But until then, I will see you later. Cheers!